Hey guys, my name is Haley and today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I annotated in 2020 just because I thought it would be a fun wrap up and to kind of be able to show off a couple of my annotations. So I don't know if this is something people find interesting or not, but apparently the way I annotate video that I made in 2019 is one of my most popular videos of all time. So I was like, apparently people are interested in annotating. So I'm just going to wrap up the couple books that I did annotate in 2020. I'm going to start off with one that I have not actually finished yet because I haven't been reading nonfiction, or really I just didn't read anything in December when I started this, and that is Everybody Always by Bob Goff. This is a Christian nonfiction, and honestly I don't have that many annotations in here. I was basically just using a highlighter and writing some notes here and there, but I do plan to continue annotating this. I do usually annotate my Christian nonfiction, especially if I'm reading it physically, so that is a very common theme. A lot of my Christian nonfiction is very annotated. I might do a video showing those off at some point, although I'm pretty sure I talked about them in my How I Annotate video, which I guess I will leave linked down below if you have not seen it. But next up is another Christian nonfiction, that is 20 Things We Tell Our 20-something Selves. This one I also did not annotate a ton, but there definitely is some in here. This one also at the end of each chapter had questions and everything that you could answer for yourself and do a self-assessment of, so that's what a lot of these annotations were. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's just a Christian perspective on your 20s and how you should be spending them, and it was very interesting. I liked it a lot. I don't think I ever talked about it on here because I read it in the beginning of the year before I came back to BookTube, so And then one you guys have definitely heard me talk about several times, and that is Welcoming the Future Church by Jonathan Pacluda. This I did an entire video series on. I think I ended up doing 3 videos of me annotating and also chatting about things as I went. And this one is actually relatively annotated for my taste because I had a lot to say. I also did a lot of talking about it because I love Jonathan Pacluda. I love the way he preaches. I love the way he connects with young adults and the way that he phrases things to make them understandable to 20-somethings specifically. Those were the 3 Christian nonfictions that I annotated last year, and then I only annotated 2 fiction books. I also was annotating the Bible a lot during the year, so I will probably show those off in a different video when me and Kate continue and get a little bit further in our Bible reading of the buddy read that we're doing this year. Speaking of buddy reads, the only way I apparently annotated fiction last year was buddy reads with Kate, because we also annotated New Moon. As you can see, I had a lot to say. This one has probably been the most interesting for me to annotate because New Moon, as we probably all know, is the worst book in the Twilight series. It's the worst. The Cullens are gone for most of it. It's just not a fun time. But because me and Kate were annotating, we found it much more fascinating this time around, especially tracking Bella's depression and the thoughts processes that she goes through when Edward leaves. So I had a key of everything. I was talking about my word Bella, why though, Edward, Carlisle, other Cullens, Charlie Best Dad, Jacob moments, and the Vulture. This one we also did a lot of commentary on Jacob and how a lot of his comments and everything and mindset were very problematic because werewolf genes. So yeah, no, this one is very annotated. I had a lot to say, and I definitely think annotating this one made the experience of rereading it much more interesting than it would have been had we not been annotating. So that's one thing I've really enjoyed about annotating, especially upon reread. And another thing that I noticed is that I don't really annotate books on first read pretty much ever unless it's a Christian nonfiction for some reason. Probably because most of the time I'm trying to consume the story as fast as possible when reading for a first time, and if I go back to annotate, that means I really enjoyed it enough to reread and love it. So that is what we've been doing with the Twilight books. And then don't worry, this video is coming soon. I kept saying back in October when we reread this that I was gonna do Why Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky is not Christian fiction, because it definitely isn't. It's 100% a horror, but I do, after rereading this and annotating it within an inch of its life like we did, I do see why some people claim that, but also I disagree in the fact that Christian fiction has a point, and this is not, that was not the point of this book. This book was to scare people because it's a horror. It's very much an adult horror. So yeah, I had a whole key going on. This is probably the most academic annotation I feel like I've ever done. Like, I was straight up going for Christian and Bible allusions. I had a bunch of post-it notes, which I generally don't normally do in annotations unless I have a ton to say, because I'm more likely to just write on the page. But yeah, I will be doing hopefully a flip through of this in that video when I end up making it, which I plan to do soon. But yeah, this is a good example of a very annotated page. And there are more. Like, I went through probably 3 packs of these post-it notes and tabs in this book because I had so much to say. But yeah, that is definitely my most annotated book of 2020 for sure. So yeah, those are all of the books that I annotated in 2020. It honestly wasn't that many because I did a ton of audiobook reading in the year, especially during the pandemic. But these are the ones that I did end up annotating. Let me know if you like annotation videos, if you like hearing how different people annotate, because I did make that video a while ago. And like, even within Twilight and Imaginary Friend, I feel like my annotating does change a little bit depending on the genre and like what I'm going for when I go in and annotate things. So I might make an updated annotating video soon. We'll see. But I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys next time.